What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. I appreciate all y'all coming through on this midday matinee. Reason why it's midday, today is my daughter's birthday, and I will be busy all night, so I wanted to get this out to all of y'all in the middle of the day while she is at school. For all of you wondering, because a bunch of you hit me up on Twitter, etc., she loved her Switch. She is absolutely loving life, so thank you everyone who have already sent birthday wishes out to her. Your boy's toughing it through. These next couple weeks are going to be rough. I don't know what happened over the weekend, or just before the weekend, but I have a pinched nerve in my neck, and oh boy! So I was going to actually record I was going to get 2 episodes of 3 takes out, over the course of the draft weekend, but just because I didn't do anything yesterday much, I'm going to be dropping that tonight on Patreon for all of you Patreons. Expect that episode of 3 takes. Been ready to go, but if you notice me, squirming or anything of that nature, it's a rough one right now. It's a rough one. So, yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way, and that is why all my Patreon members, that's why the second episode of 3 takes hasn't come, but it'll come tonight for all of y'all. Because I had it ready to go. Man, we got a lot to talk about today. This Minnesota media keeps pushing this narrative of Dalvin Cook to the Miami Dolphins, and this one flew under the radar for a couple days until, a Vikings-centric account pointed it out. So, we're going to go over that. It's what listen, I told all y'all, okay? Why was, days after the press conference where we had already covered them talking about taking a veteran running back, you see the Miami Herald saying, well, Cook's still a possible, like literally in articles. And shout out to Daddy Dean. So, it's being pushed. Both medias are pushing it right now. If you really, both Minnesota and the Miami media are still pushing it, even after the Devon Achane edition. And we'll talk about all that, plus what was exactly pushed. Daddy Dean says, towards a birthday gift for the Earhart. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Listen, she got spoiled. So, it was the first time in my whole life, I sat there on Sunday and I was like, okay, this kid's spoiled. I'll tell you all the story. So my daughter loves her iPad, and she had an old gen iPad. My mom bought her a brand new iPad. All right. We bought her a Nintendo Switch, and she loves, and I was really excited because, I was the one who went out and paid for it and picked it up. I was really excited to buy her first system, but it was the first time, her cousins sitting there, and first she opens the iPad from my mom, and her cousins are, we're talking about her cousins are older too, right? We're talking about 17 and 15, and they're sitting there looking and they're really good with her, and they're sitting there looking at the iPad, they're like, wow, and you could kind of tell what 5-year-old gets a brand new iPad? That's what I'm thinking. I know I didn't get these gifts when I was 5, even though that makes me sound old when I sound like an old man saying that, but so that happened, and then she, not too long after that, she opened the Switch, and I remember her oldest cousin saying, oh, I'm saving up for one. And then that moment I was like, oh my God, that's, and, my wife tried to validate it towards me. It's a milestone. She's not going to get these many and these expensive as presents when she's, when she's 6. And I said to her, well, we got another one here that's 3 years away from this milestone. Should I start saving? Holy Jesus. So, and Jason says I am old. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate you, bud. Always can count on you to be a ray of sunshine in my chat, huh? Compared to my daughter, yeah, I guess so. Kind of crazy when you put it into perspective, right? I'm not trying to be morbid or anything like that, but 38 years old, and you think to yourself, all right, that's another 33 years till my daughter is my age. Am I going to be 71 and see her 38th birthday? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. The things you think of, huh? So I appreciate all of y'all. And by the way, Jason, I saw your comment earlier, and listen, I got post-draft questions. And one of the post-draft questions I have alludes to that, and we'll get into that because my post-draft questions were kind of inspired by an article we're going to go over that didn't have any. It had draft questions, right? Questions based on every team in the NFL from the draft, and we'll go over that. But then I thought to myself, well, I got post-draft questions. And so I'll make that an own little segment after we cover the article about the draft questions. So we got stuff to go over there, man. We got stuff to go over there. And I got to say, man, as I continue to watch these UDFAs, and I'm going to talk about it on my 3 takes video tonight, man, this class has potential. Man, this class has potential. I mean, you look at this. You look at the pedigree off these guys. And, like, wow. You know, Aubrey Miller, All-American and SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. Zeke Vandenberg was the FCS Defensive Player of the Year. He won the Buck Buchanan Award. You know, Michael Turk, look at the bloodline, right? You know, Alama Ulave was the first team and I actually looked up how to pronounce that, and I just forgot. Was first team All Mountain West on San Diego State, and you look at Garrett Nelson, he was second team All Big Ten and top 10 in tackle for losses in the Big Ten last year. So, I mean, you look at this potential on those players alone. These guys got accolades. These guys got resumes. Man, I watch Aubrey Miller, and I like him. Get a Switch game from us. Appreciate you, Daddy Dean, with the $49.99 donation. I was actually, you know what? I was actually thinking about hopping over and maybe getting her. She loves Mario, so I was gonna get her Odyssey or Luigi's Mansion or something like that. You know, just so she had something to open today. You know, I feel bad. Opened everything on Sunday. It's like, you know. So I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you very much. Shout out to Robert. He says, my daughter's 20. I'm going up to Jacksonville to bring her home from college this weekend. Man, enjoy. Enjoy the memories on the drive back, huh? Appreciate you, Robert. Appreciate all of y'all. Yeah, he is Samoan, Utah trucker. I think I originally thought he was Pauly, and then I was like, no, he's Samoan. He's Samoan. Joe, great job on the NFL draft coverage as always, Reason. Appreciate you, Joe. Thank you very much. Man, that weekend was worth it. You know, holding my head high after that weekend, man. A lot of work went into leading up to that weekend, and, you know, yeah, that was a very successful weekend from the Dolphin side and from Phinside The NFL side, I think, too. So, man, I appreciate all the support you guys gave through this weekend. It was awesome, man. First off, happy birthday to the little one. Second of all, what do you think of the chances we'll actually get cooked this offseason and show some TDs? I've said this before. I said it on Patreon first. I'll say it here. I think it's like 40% chance. And the only reason it's not 10 or 20% right now is because of Dalvin Cook and what I've heard privately for months, right? I've heard that he's willing to play ball. I've even shown tweets here that, you know, the homie Nick Hicks has put out from Perform saying that the Devon Achane pick, from his perspective, doesn't change much regarding Dalvin's situation. What does that tell me? And this is, I'm not getting into anything I've been told privately from anyone here. I'm just telling you, now this is me telling you publicly of how you got to perceive that. How I would perceive that if I wasn't plugged into anyone or didn't talk to anyone by Nick saying that, I would perceive that doesn't change anything from Dalvin Cook's side. And what have I kept telling y'all? Now, especially after, even before Devon Achane, I said they weren't paying that money. He was going to have to play ball financially, and I heard all the time that he was willing to play ball financially. So what now that has turned into from this Devon Achane acquisition is we're going to find out just how willing he's just how willing he is to play ball. Is he willing to play that kind of ball financially? Because he's going to have to, because the ball is fully in our court right now. Now, I see people always ask, well, you know, we got everyone. None of these people have locked down. I've been telling y'all. Barry Jackson wrote a freaking article laying out basically how Raheem Mostert's the only one that they're attached to this year. Well, now Devon Achane. But you see what I'm going here? And none of these guys are attached to after this season. So, listen, I put it at 40% because of what I've heard privately in terms of how much he's willing to play ball and how much he wants financially and how badly he wants to come to Miami. If I wasn't hearing any of that stuff, we'd be sitting on like 10% here, okay? When I'm talking about playing ball, yeah, I'm talking like $4, $5, $6 million a year. Getting like a $14, $15 million back for like half that cost is what I'm saying. And I think it'll be a short deal. I think it'll only be 1 or 2 years. So he's made money, you know what I mean? And I keep telling all of y'all, he just wants more guaranteed money. He's only got like $2 million worth of guaranteed money. That's all this is going to come down to with him. So you could sign him to like a 2-year, right? $14 million deal, but you guarantee him $12 million over those 2 years, right? And just get that guaranteed million out of the way. We got so much money that's going to, especially if you extend Wilkins. Which, I mean, listen, people were trying to jump down my throat and Neil's throat when we told all y'all we were hearing they're far apart. We thought something would get done by the draft, and we're into May now. I still think something's going to get done, and like I've told you privately, I've been told, listen, they're in win now mode. It would take a deal to blow their socks off. That's why I kept saying, that's why I was saying if there was a deal that led to a pathway of Jalen Carter, like a top 10 pick type thing, which I knew we weren't going to get. So, I think they'll get something done with Wilkins. Obviously, there's a pay gap. Hopefully, they get something done. Again, if he's asking for 22, 23 million, hard stop on me. But that's just me. But if you extend him, you free up like another, like, what is it, like 10 million? See, that's what it comes down to, Aaron. What you just said right there. See, you got to also listen. Go back to that Caps Off podcast and listen to what Zach was saying. His agent, Zach Hiller, was talking about how, look at his numbers, Hall of Fame numbers. You know, a lot of legacy talk, right? And the way you cap off that legacy is a Lombardi trophy. And if you look at Dalvin Cook's numbers, and if you add a championship to that, he's got a really good chance when he hangs those cleats up of going to an even better chance than what his numbers say when you add that Lombardi to it. And I think he knows exactly what Robert says. The Lions are on the up and coming. Minnesota, they're trending downwards right now. He knows I can't win. If I could go, listen, if he signs a 1 or 2 year deal and he can win a ring in that, he's probably going to go after that 2 years and try and get another contract somewhere, get a little bit of money, and call it. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. You know, and we'll get into it here in a little bit, but with Dalvin Cook, man, the narrative continues. The wheels just keep turning and turning and turning. And listen, like I said, if he wasn't a good pass catcher, I don't even think this conversation would be had. And, you know, you look at, I kept telling all y'all, you know, Ross is given the mandate and we're all in. We are all in. We are all in. And Dalvin Cook is just even further proof of, but again, it would be on their terms. But back to Christian Wilkins. You know, you got $17.3 million after June 1st, if you don't include the draft class. Christian Wilkins would take us up to like $25 million. And what are we going to do with that? We're not going to roll over $25 million. And even if we do go out and sign, let's say we sign Cam Fleming, and let's say we say screw Eichenberg, and we say screw Jackson, and we go sign Dalton Reisner, who taped last year, not very good, but years prior, okay. Let's say, I'm just using him as an example. You sign Dalton Reisner at left guard, you sign Cam Fleming at right tackle. How much do you think that's going to cost you? That's not even going to cost you $6 million between the two of them, probably. It's probably going to cost you, what, $4 or $5 million between the two of them? It's May 2nd, and they're still sitting there on the free agent market. You know, okay, let's go on the high mark. Let's say they each cost $4 million. All right, $8 million. We're right back to $17 million. All right, let's throw $2 million at the draft class. Now we got $15 million. Where's that going? All right, let's sign Shell as insurance. What does that cost? Another $3 million. Okay, we got $12 million now. Where's that going? Just saying. You see where I'm adding up here? Just get the money out of the way in year one. If it's a 2-year deal, because you're going to have the cap. Right? And let me say this. Dalvin Cook will not be traded for or released or acquired or whatever pre-June 1st. I know we're all hoping and praying it happens any day now. It will not happen until after June 1st because financially it doesn't make sense for Minnesota to do it prior. anything that happens will happen post June 1st, whether it's a trade, it's a release, whatever. And remember, Minnesota did draft Dwayne McBride. And I've told y'all that I've heard privately that people in NFL circles are quietly high on Dwayne McBride, which is why I was surprised I saw him drop the way he did. But they gave Madison money. They drafted Dwayne McBride. So, yeah. Nothing's going to happen until after June 1st, though. I want people to understand that. Do not think you're going to wake up tomorrow or the day after and there's going to be Dalvin Cook news. So, I want, the King Short, you're talking about, I always forget how to pronounce his last name. Justin Pugh. I call him Justin Pug, or it's like Justin Pugh or Pug or something like that. But he was good, but it's just like Taylor Lewan. Why do people keep mentioning Taylor Lewan? The guy's retired. Yeah, it's Jason Pugh. He's retired, but it's spelled Pugh. Why do people keep mentioning Taylor Lewan? Why? The guy's done. Have you seen his body? Taylor Lewan doesn't even look like an NFL offensive lineman right now. Have you seen that man's body? He's not ready to go. Yeah, we reached out to him. He said that when he wanted to give Frank the Tank a hug. And everyone's all of a sudden reading into this. Yeah, we probably reached out to him like when he got cut way back. And clearly that was a no. Look at his body right now. He looks like, has anyone seen what Pouncey looks like? Have all y'all noticed what these new age NFL linemen are turning into when they're leaving the NFL? Have you noticed their bodies? They're shedding all that weight. They're shedding all that weight and like they don't have NFL bodies now. And Taylor Lewan, also watch the film. Taylor Lewan is not what he was 3 years ago. There's a reason why the Titans said, okay, we're done. I want people to remember that too. Taylor Lewan is not what he was a couple years ago. Pouncey looks good, but look at Pouncey playing at his football body compared to what his body is right now. Pouncey ain't ready to, strap on the pads with the body he has right now. I'm not dissing like his body. Like you could tell he went healthy. They went healthy, and when they went healthy, look at their bodies. They totally transformed and they no longer have lineman bodies anymore. That's what happened. Oh, I didn't know that. Lewan is suing the people that performed his surgery. They messed him up. There you go. But yeah, you see that? They get away from those. Because, I'll always talk about this. I don't know if you remember this. But does anyone remember? Okay, does anyone remember? Maybe someone out there. We got over 400 people watching right now. Do you remember the Buccaneers Raiders? Does anyone here remember watching the broadcast of the Buccaneers Raiders Super Bowl? I'll give you guys a minute. Let me know right now. I'll give y'all a minute in the chat. And if you're watching after, let me know if you remembered. Let me know if you remember watching the broadcast, because I'm going to get specific about it. And while I do, I'll take a sip from the fastest mug on earth. Let's see here. No, I was born the year after that. Sure, I watched it. All right. So, that was a fast sip. Yeah, I got to get back to it here, bro. Okay, I've been watching every Super Bowl since 1976. Okay, so yes. Now, yeah, it was a long time ago, yes. Does anyone remember of that Super Bowl? They did a segment where they went out to dinner with Warren Sapp. And does anyone remember what that man was ordering? Does anyone remember that at all? That man had I'm not even lying to you, that man had 12 entrees. He had one of those corner booths with the round table, and it was just full of entrees. And he was talking about how much he eats just to maintain that weight and that playing weight. And I'm sitting here watching this guy I remember being, I was what? I was in, what was I? Was that, 2000, 2001? So I was 16. I'm sitting there watching this oh my God. Dude, see, Jay Shizzy remembers that. See, you remember that. It was insane. You're telling me Pouncey and those guys, they all ate like that, man. Now, they might have ate, not as crazy with the grease, but they're all eating those amounts, those copious amounts. Same thing with ball. Exactly. I worked with when I was in the manufacturing industry, I used to work with a professional bodybuilder. And I'm going to tell you this, Chase. You watch them bulk, the worst, though, is when they cut. Oh, my God. When they cut, because they got to get ready for competition, they are miserable. Watch Mr. What Up, everyone. Reason, what happened to Eric Fisher? I don't know, brother. I have no idea. I haven't checked in. It doesn't seem like he's an option right now, dude. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. So, anyways, I just got to say, Luan and those guys, you could tell they're not there. They're not there. Joe Thomas, yeah, another good point. Look at Joe Thomas's transformation. Reeves, who's going to get... Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know, brother. I don't know. That's a good one. We're going to go over some new numbers. Some of them. I wonder if they're all waiting for they all want to pay Trill. But I got to tell you this one. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't know. The Met Gala was yesterday, guys. So if you haven't had a chance, I don't know if you saw, but newly drafted Dolphin. A newly drafted Dolphin made his Met Gala debut yesterday. I don't know if any of y'all saw this. I really don't. So if you didn't, I'll put the picture up. Cam Killer Smith was seen on the Met Gala carpet yesterday. The number 51 overall pick just looked in the camera and he said, one glare and wink, everyone wearing pink. So, I don't know. But I know there's a new killer in Miami right now, and that's Cam Smith, baby. That's Cam Smith. All right? Flyest at the Met Gala yesterday. Flyest. Flyer than a piece of paper bearing his name, all right? Shout out to Cam Smith. All right? Shout out. I'm going to tell you this much. Cam Smith, all of y'all living in South Florida, y'all better show him and give him the respect. Because this man has diplomatic immunity, baby. This man has diplomatic immunity. Shout out to Cam Smith. One glare and wink, everyone wearing pink. Shout out to Cam Smith, baby. You already know what time it is. Dip, set. All right. So, all right. 420 of you in the room. Oh, man, we got a lot. We got a lot to go into the flip phone. You know what's good, bro. Not even the flip phone. The fact that this man got the same exact shade on that flip phone, you got to give the props, man. Got to give the props. Oh, my God. Classic stuff. Oh, man. Listen, I'm subjective even with hip-hop. I can talk about the top 10 to ever do it, and some of my favorites are there. Like, you cannot argue me Rakim and Nas off the top spot on either my favorite or the greatest to ever do it list. But on my favorite list, he's not on the greatest top 10, but he's on my favorite top 10. Bro, Cameron, different level of swag, man. Different level, man. Cam was that dude, baby. Back in the day, Cam was one of my favorites, man, for real. So, and man, oh, that's fantastic, man. That's fantastic stuff. Shout out to Cam Smith, baby. Shout out to Cam Smith. Killer Cam is what I'm calling him. That's what that whole picture's about. The dub on this channel is Killer Cam Smith. That's what we calling this man over here. All right? You damn right I'm going to make that emoji in this chat, too. You already know that's coming. Killer Cam. All right? So, is that pink? Is that pink, Jason Myers? Let me ask you this. Real men, answer me this. Is that pink? Is that North Atlantic wild salmon? Let me know right now. Is that pink or is that North Atlantic wild salmon? You let me know. All right? Oh, man. Wild salmon. Real men call it North Atlantic wild salmon. Spawn said flamingo. Real men call that North Atlantic wild salmon. Don't get it twisted, baby. Don't get it twisted, all right? That ain't pink. It's North Atlantic wild salmon. All right? Robert's got the right answer, though. It's whatever Cam says it is. Don Johnson, Miami Vice Pink. I like it. Bro's a pink starburst. Oh, y'all be killing me in this chat, man. Y'all be killing me. All right. Oh, we got to get into this. 431 in the room. Please do me the favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We passed 11.2. So let's keep rolling towards 12K. Cotton candy, fluffy pink. There you go. Oh, man. Hey, bro. The right shades of pink. I'm telling you. When this boy got his tan on, because when I tan, my hair goes blonde. When I got my tan on and the blonde starts flowing like I'm a Super Saiyan, the pink, beauty, bro. You put a pink Ralph Lauren polo on, all right? You rolling in the summertime, right? Throw on the Carreras, because I don't I don't wear the pitties like that, Throw on the Carreras or the Sutros, and I'm ready to go, baby. You already know what time it is. All right, let's get into this, though. All right. This is what had Twitter in arms. Can Dalvin Cook be had for a fifth rounder? Well, someone in the Minnesota media certainly thinks so. And who would that be? That would be Charlie Walters of the Twin Cities Pioneer Press, who covers the Minnesota Vikings. He's been covering them for like 20 years. Now, people are running with this when the freaking title is literally "Don't print that." The little titles, "Don't print that." Anyways, he goes, the Dalvin, and this is the portion that has everyone excited. The Dalvin Cook trade probably to his hometown Miami Dolphins could occur anytime, even this summer. The best the Vikings can expect for Cook, who turns 28 just before the season, is a fifth-round pick. The problem for the Vikings is Cook's $11 million salary for next season. The Dolphins also figure he isn't worth that much. So why give up much when they know the Vikings aren't going to pay him that much? If a trade can't work, the Vikings might just have to release Cook. So this man is talking in pure speculation, pure projection, pure prediction. And if you saw the original tweet that came out yesterday from Vicologist, they said the literal wording was the literal wording, they didn't even credit Charlie Walters at first. They had to quote tweet themselves. The literal wording was Dalvin Cook for a fifth to the Miami Dolphins. That was the literal wording. And then everyone came out with like, who's this guy? Blah, 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 blah. And then we all had to dig into it. And we all found this out because this was about like 7 p.m. yesterday. And that this started like really like catching on. And listen, I'm just going to say this. Why do you think he's speculating the Dolphins? I mean, this is a guy in Minnesota who covers the team, and he's freaking naming the Dolphins out here. Why do you think? Because, again, I guarantee you they're hearing the same rumblings from out of Cook's camp that are going throughout. That's what this is coming down to. That's what this is coming down to. That's why he's putting the Miami Dolphins in there. Because it's not, again, is Ian Rappaport or is Adam Schefter coming out, or Jay Glazer, and saying, yo, Dalvin Cook's going to be in Miami? No. But people who are locked into the team, both teams are putting the pieces together here that Dalvin Cook wants to be a Miami Dolphin. Like the Minnesota, I look at this, listen, it was going to be in the title here, but it was way too long. But the Minnesota media is still pushing the narrative of Dalvin Cook to the Miami Dolphins. That's what I take this away of. They're hearing the same things that the local South Floridian media is hearing. Because I've seen people that have changed their tune even after the Devon Achane selection. Even after the Devon, that they've changed their tune. They've said, we won't trade for Dalvin. But they don't say Dalvin won't be a Dolphin, and they don't say we won't pick him up if he gets released. Everyone is saying to themselves, and I've been telling all of y'all, if he's released, he's a Dolphin. Now, I've also said some team could come in and swoop in and offer him a whole lot of money, and we'll find out how bad he really wants to be a Dolphin and if he really is willing to play financial ball up here. But all indications are this man wants to be a Dolphin. And I'm going to ask you all this because people keep talking about, well, we got Mostert and Wilson. Are you crazy right now? Are Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, God bless them, are they going to stop you from getting Dalvin Cook when you got all this money clearing up? Especially if you extend Wilkins. If you extend Wilkins, you're going to have over $20 million cleared up. If you don't extend Wilkins, you have over $15 million. Are you really going to let those two... See, again, people are starting to show themselves to me, okay? And I'll tell you 2 reasons why. 1, people still out here, people who claim they cover the draft too, which is even scarier, talking about they want to reach for needs over BPA, which, are you crazy? Are you nuts? Okay, so you're telling me if we got an offensive line, he's a 50, we're picking at 51. He's a 57th guy ranked on our board, but we got Cam Smith who's ranked in the top 30. Let's take the 57th guy on our board instead of the top 30 guy staring us in front of our face. That's why y'all would get fired the next day, all right? Let me straighten that one out. Okay? And let me straighten this one out too. Anyone who sits there and tells you they would let good players, Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, stop them from acquiring great players, Dalvin Cook, would be fired too. Thank you very much. Listen, they've been giving Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg every chance under the sun. Did that stop them from acquiring Teron Armstead when he came available? Or Connor Williams, who was a left guard, just so happened to be down to be kicked to center? No. If Connor Williams would have said, hey, I don't want to play center, I want to stay at guard, what do you think they would have said to him? Oh, no, bro. You got to go. No, they would have said, all right, man, we'll figure it out. Okay? So, you never let good players stop you from acquiring great players. Never. Ever. That is bad business. Look at how did Emmanuel Ogbah stop us from acquiring Bradley Chubb? Want to hear it out there? Because we just gave Ogbah all that money. Let me hear. Did Emmanuel Ogbah stop us from acquiring Bradley Chubb? Ask yourself that. And now we are in win now mode, throwing everything in the kitchen sink. What is BPA? BPA is best player available relative to your board. Cam Smith screamed BPA when the pick was made. But if you listened to me and Neil, you weren't surprised because we've been talking about, listen, I might not have done a cornerback big board, but we talked about Keely Ringo and him dropping out of the first round because, remember, he was a top 10 lock heading into the season. And we talked about him dropping in the first round. And we said, man, do you make a cornerback selection like a guy like Keely Ringo at 51 with all these unknowns? Nick Needham's coming off injury, but his contract's also up. The rumor is they want to try Trill at safety a little bit. Xavier Howard, is he going to play ball financially? Noah Benogany looks like he might not even see much of training camp. There's half your room. Right? So we speculated with Keely Ringo, and that's why we understood why they made the Cam Smith move over here. And that's why I did not drag them, because I understood why they were doing it. People seem to, they only look at what's on the field and they seem to forget the business side, and the business side impacts roster decisions as well and draft decisions. Right? So, and there's people who claim to cover the draft that don't know this stuff. So, I mean, you figure it out. Again, I will say it again. I've said it before. No one in the Dolphins community is better than me at Dolphins draft coverage. No one. Period. So, that's it. Especially on YouTube. So, anyways, I'm talking about from the Dolphins community too, by the way. With Dalvin Cook, listen. Again, I keep telling y'all, I'll tell you again. We are going to find out how much he wants to play ball if he gets released. And they've added Dwayne McBride. They've added Alexander Madison. They're not forced to release him. There are certain people who believe he won't be released. And hey, even I said the release talk kind of felt like posturing. Now, you got a writer there saying they could release him because of his cap hit anyways, because they do save money post June 1st. It's just, man, releasing that kind of talent and not getting anything for it. Ooh, that one hurts. That one hurts, man. That one hurts. Appreciate you, Dwayne D. You know Dougley the homie. Dougley always going to be the homie, man. Good dude right there. So, yeah. I mean, hey, listen, again, they're pushing it. I'm informing you because I can guarantee you out of the 470 of you watching right now, not every single one of you have literally seen the article. Everyone might have saw that stuff floating around Twitter, but there is the article for you. You can now see the source. Whenever you see one of these things not sourced, always look to see if you can find the source. That's your source. It's the Minnesota media pushing what's being heard in South Florida now. So we'll see how it works out. We will see how it works out. Now, why is this even more interesting? I want to show you this from Joe Shad, segueing right into it. From today, Mike McDaniel was very apologetic about lack of team rushes, Raheem Mostert says. Only one NFL team ran the ball fewer times than the Miami Dolphins last season. Coach Mike McDaniel has said he should have called more run plays, and McDaniel has told his players that directly too. Very apologetic, Raheem Mostert said Tuesday of postseason conversation with McDaniel. Mostert must believe McDaniel as he re-signed on a 2-year deal. We can get out after one, by the way, in case any of y'all are wondering. And every other person in that room, we can get out of their contracts before the start of the season if we need to. He said he was going to do his best to change for the upcoming year. When he talks like that, it gets me fired up. Mostert averaged 4.9 yards per carry. Wilson averaged 4.7. The Dolphins should be even more effective in year 2 of his zone scheme attack. The O-line started hitting their stride toward the end of the year. The chemistry, everything starts up front. If those guys up front make it happen, then we're in good hands. We're loaded at running back. They drafted Devon Achane from Texas A&M as well. Mostert said we pretty much have a 4x100 team, a whole different dynamic to this offense. Guys that can go out there and run routes, and you get guys that can, separate themselves. Miami did not give Mostert a specific pre-draft heads up that they might select a running back, but it was obvious it could happen as Miami has backs on short-term deals. Honestly, I look at the draft, as a way, the future, which is awesome. That's what you want in an organization. Mostert is willing to mentor Achane, as Darren Sproles once did for him. I try to do my best to, bring that mentorship to not only football, but in, life in general, because, everybody goes through different phases of life, and everybody has their ups and downs, but you have somebody that can at least speak to you or guide you. Mostert was asked what he'd tell Achane about running backs coach Eric Studesville, and he said, be present. When he asks you questions, make sure that you understand the question thoroughly and then give him a good response. But, it's all about patience right now. Understand the offense, and that's what he needs right now. It's a little bit of time. McDaniel and the Dolphins know that as exciting as their offense was last season, it can be even more productive with an effective run game. A strong run game will only benefit quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, but it'll keep the offensive linemen and run backs like Mostert even more engaged. The running back room is going to get the ball a little bit more in regards to touches. So, yeah, it's a thriller, man, Mostert said. I'm excited. I truly can't wait for that. Mostert missed Miami's playoff loss at Buffalo with a broken thumb last year. He wants to suit for the Miami Dolphins in a playoff game this upcoming season. So bad, Mostert said. I'm ready to rock. So, Mike McDaniel right there is telling his guys we're going to run the football more this year. And you can talk about Dalvin Cook's history all you want, but Mostert and Wilson have a history of they're not able to stay healthy. So if we're looking to become more of a running team this year, you got to ask yourself, how safe would you, we all know the answer. Would you feel safe with those three, Devon Achane, Mostert, and Wilson, with Gaskin or Ahmed, or with Cook? And I think the answer is pretty freaking obvious right there. And it would be a four-headed monster. And guys can pick up the slack for anyone else if anyone has a knock or has to miss a game or anything. So, again, You're throwing everything and the kitchen sink at trying to win, because I'm going to tell all y'all this. This is my own personal belief. So this is not inside of me. This is nothing. This is my personal belief. I think they realize, listen, we got a 3-year window to win here, but are we going to have this collection of talent amassed in this window the way we do in this year right now? Add to it if you can, because X could leave the next year. You know, you could have to move off Zach Seiler and Raekwon Davis because you extend Wilkins. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be changes going on here. Jerome Baker is basically on an audition year. They're just probably saying, man, are we going to be able to amass all of this talent as one collective ever in this window other than this year? It's a real question to ask yourself. And if you say, man, I think this is the most talented roster we're going to have. Yeah, we're going to have talented rosters in this 3-year window that can win Super Bowls, but this might be the most. Then throw everything you can at it. Throw everything you can at it. Listen, I had this conversation with EM Dolphin fan. EM Dolphin fan's a Spurs fan. As everyone knows, my other love in sports are the Pittsburgh Penguins. I get it, Dolphins. We haven't been in a winning window in quite some time. A very long time. All right? But I said this to EM. You know, he's a Spurs fan. I'm a Penguins fan. With the Penguins, I have been. With the Spurs, he has been. So I get some fans, they don't remember, or this is a new feeling, and they're like, oh, you can't do. When you are in win now mode, when the mandate is passed down that this is the window, you do whatever you can. Whatever you can. You add as much talent as you can, even if it means paying for it 3 or 4 years down the line. Because if you got to pay for it 3 or 4 years down the line, and you got a chip or two, we ain't crying, bros and girls. We ain't crying. We are not. We're sitting there saying, yeah, man, we got our chips. But they're also setting themselves up financially where they're not going to be in the same hell that the Saints and the Rams were. Daddy Dean says the 4 horsemen. You damn right. Holy, I like that. All right, I like that. I like that. The four horsemen of South Beach. So, listen. I get it. And hey, another reason why I'm live right now, too, is the Heat and the Panthers are going tonight. So, 2 teams that are winning. 581 of you in the room. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. So, let's get into this right here. And it's going to segue into my own personal little segment here. So, draft questions for all 32 teams from ESPN. And what they have for the Dolphins is, how do Cam Smith and Devon Achane fit into the Dolphins' immediate plans? Neither Smith, a cornerback, nor Achane, a running back, were need-based picks, but considering they were taken in the top 100, it's reasonable to expect they see some level of playing time. Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel hinted after the draft that their defense under new coordinator Vic Fangio offers a lot of different ways for defensive backs to get off the field once they understand the scheme. So Smith could share the field with Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, if he beats out Cater Kohu, last year's rookie standout. McDaniel lobbied heavily for Achane, and his speed can be utilized in a myriad of ways. He's a good player to keep an eye on in the summer. So I'll explain to you right now how this can all go down. It's very easily. First of all, let's get the obvious. Injuries happen. Injuries are going to free up snaps. That's number one. Let's start with Cam Smith, okay? With Cam Smith, I think he can be used in the boundary and in the slot. You look at Ramsey. Ramsey's going to be deployed in a multitude of ways. If he's deployed in the nickel, or if he's deployed in the nickel out of Kohu and Cam I feel more comfortable on the boundary with. If what's his face? If Ramsey's using a safety role in any type of box role, Cam to the boundary, right? Anything happens to, we go a spread here. Cam, I think, is going to be first up to fill the boundary role, and he's going to be battling to be first up to fill that slot role too. So he's going to get snaps. There are going to be snaps for him. Kohu is not going to get every single slot snap. Needham. We don't know what Needham is coming out of the gate back from this injury. Even still, they've tinkered with him at safety. So you could see him being used at safety a little bit. there's going to be, and with how this defense is going to be deployed, there's going to be tons of snaps for Cam Smith. So I'm not worried about that. Remember, in the NFL nowadays, you can never have enough defensive backs. We see, what do we see? Right? Go back to the Diamond and Ruby defenses we used to deploy. Okay? 6 or more DBs on the field, we're talking here. So there's going, and now we're not running those same defenses because Boyer and them are gone, but there's plenty of times, and we've gone over his defense, where Fangio likes to use a multitude of DBs. So Cam Smith is going to find snaps. Devon Achane, not worried at all, because that guy can line up. I think he's arguably our best receiver back right now until you add Dalvin Cook. Or even if you don't add Dalvin Cook, he's your best receiving back. If you do add Dalvin Cook, it's those two are your best receiving backs. Devon Achane can line up in the slot and run routes for you. Devon Achane can go on the boundary and run, drags for you and little short stuff, intermediate stuff for you. Devon Achane's going to get snaps, okay? They've invested in him. And his speed. Devon Achane. So I don't know why everyone's so worried about I don't think there's any questions about how they're going to be used. I think they're going to get their snaps. Now, let's get into my post-draft questions for this team. Okay? Because I got really one big one. And I want really everyone to sit back and give me your answers. Why were they so confident? Why were they so confident that they've got the offensive line figured out? It just doesn't reek to me, it just doesn't reek to me that the confidence does not reek to me of two guys relying on Austin Jackson and Eichenberg to get them through the season on the offensive line. When they came out after that first round and they said, all of you guys are more worried about this offensive line than we do. We know the people they brought in, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying they have a trade in works, but goddamn, they were sure they were sure up there like two guys who got something in the works. This is why I keep saying to myself, you got to trust the process to an extent here. And that's why I said, you can't freak out. You got to wait to see what our roster is on day one of training camp, because those guys sound like they got a plan. So my big question post-draft is, why were they so confident? Because that does not reek. You cannot be that confident in Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson. That did not reek of men who are relying on Eichenberg and Jackson to get the job done for them. I'm sorry, it just didn't. Now, I may be wrong. I may be wrong here. I really feel like if Bergeron was on the board, it would have been Bergeron or Cam Smith for the pick. They might have still went Cam Smith based on BPA. But I think Bergeron was the last guy they felt comfortable with that came off the board in that 51 range. So when he came off the board, I knew that was that. But it seems like they got a plan. Everyone rightfully so wants the answer at left guard and right tackle. Rightfully so. We all want that answer. But my biggest post-draft question, why are they so confident? Because they are not that was not the confidence of two blind men following Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson into the unknown. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. All right. Continuing on here. Well, we knew they wouldn't. John Michael Schmitz can't play guard. So we knew John Michael Schmitz at 51. They were locked in on Connor. Listen, I like John Michael Schmitz, but we all had a feeling they weren't going to take him. So, all right. A 6-pack from yesterday from the homie Barry Jackson. He said the Dolphins at the moment have more dead money on their cap, $3.5 million, than cap space at 2.9, and the dead money total can grow a bit in the months ahead after developments over the weekend. The selection of South Carolina cornerback Cam Smith makes it difficult to envision a path for Noah Igbinoghene to make the team barring injury. And there would be modest financial consequence to cutting him. Of Noah Igbinoghene's $2.1 million salary, $1.6 million already has been guaranteed in the final year of his 4-year rookie deal. Meanwhile, his 2023 Dolphins cap hit drops from $3.6 million to $2.1 million if he's cut, meaning there would be $1.5 million in dead money on Miami's 2023 cap. Howard, Ramsey, Smith, and Kohu will be on the team, and Nick Needham, coming off a torn Achilles, will very likely be too. That leaves one cornerback job for Keon Crossan or Bethel, which will probably be Crossan. Trill Williams, who missed last season with a knee injury, also will compete, so it might take an injury or something unexpected for Igbinoghene to make it. Now, Igbinoghene, I'm not even going to read that part because he was bad, but then defensive coordinator Josh Boyer played him only when absolutely necessary. Boyer usually opted instead for Crossan, who had a 104.7 passer rating in his coverage area. The Dolphins assuredly won't be exercising Noah Igbinoghene's $11.5 million cap option, and they didn't by today's deadline. Meanwhile, the fact that they didn't trade Cedric Wilson during the draft weekend increases the chances that he will be on the team this summer. The difficulty with trading Wilson stems from his salary and not his ability. Ultimately, if the Dolphins cannot trade him, they would either need to keep him and pay him $7 million with an $8 million cap hit, or cut him and pay him $5 million with $7 million dead cap in 2023. If the Dolphins decide they prefer to trade him, they would need to find a taker if a team loses one or more receivers to injury in training camp or preseason. Keep in mind that Miami's 2023 dead money hit after June 1st would be only $1 million if he is traded. It's difficult to envision the Dolphins releasing Wilson, who's a good player, with that type of financial consequence. Even so, keeping Wilson would diminish the chances of having the roster space for either Chosen Anderson or River Craycraft. Meanwhile, the selection of running back Devon Achane diminishes Myles Gaskin's chance of making the team, but Gaskin is owed nothing and has no dead cap hit if he's released. The Dolphins added the 20th undrafted rookie, which was Kedron Smith, who we covered yesterday on this channel a bit. Cornerback, he began his career at Mississippi as a cornerback. Then he transferred to Kentucky, where he returned to cornerback in his one season because he was moved to safety at Mississippi. He had 5 interceptions, 8 tackles, and for a loss, and 19 passes defended in 4 years at Mississippi. Last season, he only had 1 at Kentucky. He had 2 interceptions, including 1 return for a touchdown, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, 46 tackles, and 5 passes defended. Beyond the 20 draft rookies who are expected to sign with the Dolphins, Miami has also invited several players to try out for the team during their rookie minicamp that begins May 12th. Houston-based NFL writer Aaron Wilson noted that the group includes Duke defensive back Datron Young. He was on the list that I gave to Patreons and channel members. Wyoming guard Eric Aboje and Harvard running back Aiden Borgett, who ran for 1,170 yards and 10 touchdowns last season. Borgett will also audition for the Chiefs at their rookie minicamp. The Dolphins also added only 1 natural tight end in the draft process, and that was Julian Hill, who you heard my grade. Really big fan of him. I think he's a good player. So he talks about how like Cameron Brayton, Mercedes Lewis, and Adam Shaheen are available, but no, I'm good. And then he goes in and talks about Hayes and how he improved, and he goes into Achane and talks about how Achane forced a missed tackle on 29% of his career attempts, tied for 5th amongst power backs since 2020. So Cedric Wilson, barring a trade, looks like he's going to be sticking. And if you didn't know, the Austin Jackson, Noah Igbinoghene, they have not been, they did not pick it up. And that's not a surprise. Why would you pick up either one of those guys? And I'm going to tell y'all, listen, I've already started doing my research on the top OTs of the 2024 draft. I've already watched Joe Alt, Olu Fashanu. I've already started watching Joe Alt, but I've already started watching this tackle class because it feels like offensive line next year, it's coming. Speaking of more camp invites, Aaron Wilson also said that we also are inviting Battlehawks defensive end Freedom Achane to minicamp per league source. I have not had a chance to watch this guy. I don't watch the XFL, but we're inviting XFL players too. So another invite. On top of that, we did sign a 21st UDFA, and would you look at that? It was an offensive tackle. James Tunstall, not Tunstall, but Tunstall, becomes 21st undrafted rookie to sign with the Dolphins per the Cincinnati Bearcats. Dolphins will have 4 rookies. 7th rounder Ryan Hayes, Michigan State's Jared Haas, and Alex Jensen and Tunstall competing for job at left tackle. DJ Skife, more of a right tackle or a guard. I wouldn't be surprised if Alex Jensen ends up battling it out at guard too. But it looks like it's going to be looks like it's going to be a 7th round pick and a bunch of UDFAs, competing to back up Terron Armstead, and some of those might even get looks at left guard. I think Hayes will get a look at left guard, and I think Jensen will get a look at left guard for sure. Skype's going to get a look at guard as well. So I don't think those are guys just competing for left tackle. I think they will get looks at guard. So, man, damn, crazy. And then if you didn't see it, and there are some omissions, here are the new jersey numbers for your Miami Dolphins. New season, new numbers. So Barrios is rocking number 0. Shout out to the homie Bobby for having that. New punter Bailey's number 16. Kohu's going to be at 4. Look at Freddie Swain, 88. Sean Elliott rocking 21. Feeney's going to be rocking 67. Chosen Anderson going with the Josh Rosen number 3. Saubert, 82. Gaskin going back to 37. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Jalen Ramsey, 5. Mike White, 14. David Long Jr. is going to be 51. Man, I was kind of... Should I be disappointed? I was kind of expecting him to change that up, but he's sticking with it. I guess stick with what works, kid. I guess stick with what works, huh? And then I believe is that so Reed. That's Malik Reed is going to be number 47. All right. So there you go. One of the new additions. And then Keon Smith, the tackle for the Dolphins, is changing to number 77. I know who. Right? Pretty bad when our backers were guys like Keon Smith and Kendall Lamb and such. Holy jeez. Poor Tua. We love you, Tua. We're praying for you, Tua, baby. 526 of you in the room. Please smash that like button. If you think the Miami Heat... Listen, I'm going to tell you a story here before we get out of here. I'm a Panthers fan for this series. Okay? Sports franchises I hate the most. Okay? Bills, Patriots, Jets, and the Leafs and the Flyers. There's your top 5. And the Leafs and the Bills are the top 2. I hate the Toronto Maple Leafs. Go Cats. Go Cats. All right? I'm cheering for Kachuk. Loved him in Calgary. I'm cheering for him in Florida. Go. I hope Kachuk lights them up tonight. All right? Go Cats. All right? I am a Panthers fan definitely for this round. Give me a Panthers Kraken final. I'm here for chaos. I want Florida Panthers, Seattle Kraken final. Let's go. All right? I want the Cats versus the Cracks. Let's go. So I'm rooting for all y'all. And I've been saying Jimmy Butler, that dude, I've been saying since the bubble playoffs, Jimmy is that dude. That man is nasty. So, hey, good luck to all y'all Heat fans tonight. All you Panther fans, I'm rooting for your Panthers. 110%. I hate the Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay? So I'm here for you. Yeah. Wayne D, didn't you know Kraken fans? They call themselves crackheads. I'm not even joking. K-R-A-K. Crackheads. So, listen. I Yeah, I don't need Tom Pelissero to tell me that no 50-year options are coming from Noah Benogany and Austin Jackson. We already knew that was happening. Ain't no way. Austin Jackson's 50 years like $14 million. Out of here with that. So, listen, I appreciate all of y'all coming through. Over 530 of you in the chat. Please smash the like button on the way out. Love all of y'all. Why the Leafs hate? Because I live near a lot of Leaf fans. And these guys, listen, they haven't won a playoff series since 2004. But living near these delusional fans, you wouldn't know that, okay? You talk about one of the most delusional and arrogant fan bases in all of sports. Toronto Maple Leaf fans fall right under that. So, there you go. Anyways, shout out to all y'all. Fins up, baby. I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. You're going to get ball game thoughts on Cam Smith. Richmond Webb will be here. And then Thursday, me and Neil Driscoll, baby. You know we dive in even further into that draft. Y'all will get Neil's power went out because they were having crazy rainstorms out there in Maryland during the draft. So we'll get his thoughts on everything. So make sure y'all tune in. We got some content coming for y'all. And then I'm going to get that Cam Smith prospect profile going for all y'all. So we got a lot of content coming for all y'all. Y'all already know what time it is. Fins up. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Enjoy the night of South Florida sports, everyone.